Good afternoon, everyone. I'm finally on my way to the park, and I turned on my camera about 15 minutes prior to reaching the park, the nature center that I was talking about, because such a nice walk here. And today's my day off, finally. While on the medical ICU rotation, we only get a day off each week. And yesterday it was my co-senior's day off, and today is my day off. I'm very grateful that the weather is so nice, so I can finally go out for a walk. Last time it was rainy and drizzly. We had a recent snowstorm, so I couldn't really go out to record. I was working full-time till 7-8 p.m. Didn't really have a time to go out and take a break. In case you don't know me, I'm currently finishing off my residency before I move on to start my hematology oncology fellowship in July. And I started this channel just to share my experiences as a training physician, hoping that one day I'll be able to come back, review what I've done, where I've been, and also provide some insight into people who are not in the medical field. So yesterday I was working as a single senior. Usually we would have 2 residents as a senior to lead the team, but this time actually I'm gonna turn to the left and walk around, since there are not many people and I feel comfortable, being on my own. And I had a patient passing away. We knew that he was at the end of his life. His kidney was failing. Excuse me. His lungs were failing, so he was on maximum oxygen support. But we were having this very difficult conversation with his sister, who was making medical decisions for him. And she was deemed what we call difficult in question marks. Like, she was asking the same questions over and over again, even though everyone knew that he would never make through this, he will never survive. She just couldn't let go of him and was in a state of denial. This made the conversation very difficult. Like, the palliative care was involved. We almost got ethics involved because she wanted things done that will not benefit the patient. And as a medical provider, we are obliged to do what's best for the patient, not necessarily what their next of kin or family members want. So it was an ongoing discussion, very challenging, frustrating, very sad. But she ultimately did make the transition to comfort care, which means that we are no longer focusing on treating his disease. Excuse me. It has a smoke here, so it's really irritating my airways. But what comfort care is instead of focusing on treating disease, you focus on making the patient comfortable. So we transition to symptom management. If you want to eat, you can eat. If you have difficulty breathing, we'll give you things to relieve the air hunger. If you're nauseous, we'll give you more medications. And everything is geared towards making sure that you're not suffering. So he was eventually made comfort care, and I think in about an hour or 2 he passed away, indicating how sick he was and how he was holding on to his last streak of life with all the machines and medications, the medical support that he otherwise would not make it through, because his body was no longer supporting him on its own. So it made me think, because a lot of times we call somebody difficult, and then when the patient did eventually pass away, she shared with the team that now I don't know what to live for. Like, my brother was everything I had, and now I'm lost. And it really made me reflect. And I actually don't like the word difficult, because it feels like you're labeling somebody without really recognizing what they're going through. Like, you can be labeled as difficult if you're asking too many questions, or if you're like not necessarily arguing, but if you express a lot of doubt or a lot of maybe too much fear about a particular procedure or medications, or if you complain too much. I have to admit, it is hard to be dealing with those people as a provider, just like you would find it hard to deal with such people in everyday life. Like, who would enjoy working with somebody who's questioning you all the time? But then you have to realize that it's to do with your health, it's to do with your life. Sometimes you're making life-death decisions, like whether to pull life support, things that you've seen in media. And I'm actually not keeping my camera straight because I have somebody walking towards me and I don't want to film him, so bear with me. So that was that. And then another patient rolled in from an outside hospital, decompensated end-stage liver disease. He had cirrhosis, extremely sick, like his belly was distended like a giant balloon. He was confused, intubated, sedated. His labs were over the roof. Like, for those with medical background, his ammonium was over 600, which is extremely high. Just get you an idea of how sick he was. Unfortunately, he was a young guy, about to be married, which truly broke my heart, because I had to call his significant other to update her and get an idea of his wishes. Like, oh my, I think there's like somebody burning like a wood or something. The air is very murky here. Yeah, I think I will have to keep my walk shorter than I planned. To this gentleman, we removed some fluids off of him from the belly through paracentesis. We got a central line in, which means that you put like in his big blood vein in the neck, so that you can give very powerful medications to keep your blood pressure up. And I had the privilege of doing those procedures under the supervision of my fellow. But initially I was quite afraid. Excuse me. So I told her I don't mind her leading the way and doing the procedures, because I considered my learning a lower priority than patient care. And she disagreed. She said, I think the learning comes with the patient care, and every case is going to be a difficult case. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do have quite a bit of experience putting in lines and doing procedures, and like paracentesis I was comfortable with, and central line placement, oh, there's some people, so I've done well in the past. But this time, this gentleman was very confused. He was not fully sedated despite the sedative. He was kind of moving his head around. His blood pressure was dropping. He was oozing because of his liver disease. Ooh, I smell the burning even worse in this area. I'm gonna sit down for a little bit. So I wanted somebody who's more experienced than I to just quickly put in the line and make him, like that, kind of disturb him as least as possible. But she let me take the lead, which I was very grateful about. I'm actually sitting on this one of the exercise machines, so I can just exercise a little bit while I film and talk. So we got the line in, we removed the fluids, we had the conversation with the wife how his disease is end stage. He was no longer a transplant candidate because he was just so sick. And she broke down, was in a lot of tears. She shared with me and the team like a lot of things that she wanted to do with him, like getting married, just any happy life that anyone would envision. So that's what we deal with in the medical ICU. Like every time I see whether someone is old, young, sick, or healthy, it just simple things like me being able to walk and talk, see my family, pursue things that I want to do, like study and working as a doctor and hoping to become a cancer doctor. There's just so much to be grateful for. And I'm really grateful for being able to be part of that journey other people go through. Because it's not the same thing as just watching a movie or reading books about it. Like, you're in front of them, you watch them decline or get better, either or. You see the sorrow, you see the sadness. And I agree, over time, it does become desensitizing. Like, you would start thinking, oh, somebody asking you questions is more frustrating than taking care of a patient. Like, those inconveniences feel more prickly and larger than the good sides of being a doctor. Especially the working hours. It's very long, it's very tiring, it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibilities. But for anyone considering medicine as a career, or if you are already in the field, I just like to remind myself and others that we started this to help people at the end of the day. And regardless of what you do, you are touching somebody, you are making a difference. So in a way, I'm actually talking to myself, my future self who might be watching this, so that I don't forget why I signed up for this and why I started. I think that's it for now. The air is very bad today. I think it's not cold. It's just, I think there's like somebody burning either wood or something. Like, the air is very murky and I'm starting to feel slightly choked. So I think I'm gonna go back. enjoy the rest of my day off. Thank you for listening and see you later.